once you have something to say, writing becomes easier, but of course, you've still got to write it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tara East. I'm a writer, blogger, YouTuber, and the author of the mystery novel Every Time He Dies. And in this week's video, I actually want to unpack the writing routine of a famous author, Gretchen Rubin. So previously, I did a series covering the writing rules of several famous authors, including Octavia Butler, Natalie Goldberg, Kurt Vonnegut, and Stephen King. I don't know why I went mind blank then. The series was super fun because, like all writers, I really love to see how others approach writing, what types of routines they've created for themselves, and what habits or tools really help make writing as easy as possible and make approaching the blank page as efficient as possible. The best part? Learning about the routines of others can give us ideas for our own routines. Now, unlike the previous series, I'm taking a slightly different angle by focusing strictly on non-fiction authors. So this week, I'm going to unpack the writing routine of Gretchen Rubin. Gretchen Rubin is a New York-based writer who explores human nature to understand how we can make our lives better. And her best-selling books include The Happiness Project, Happier at Home, Better Than Before, The Four Tendencies, which is a book about expectations and how different people meet them, and I really recommend it. And her latest book is Outer Order, Inner Calm. The New York Times describes her as the queen of self-help memoir, but Gretchen prefers to think of herself as a moral essayist. She releases a weekly podcast with her sister called The Happier Podcast. And one of my favorite things about her is that she devours books. And every single month, she releases a newsletter to her subscribers where she shares all of the books she's recently read and enjoyed enough to finish. And she also includes just a sentence-long summary about them. So it's a really good way to get recommendations. Now, let's get on to the routine. So Gretchen's routine kind of varies depending on what stage she's at with a book, like most writers. Now, Gretchen does different forms of writing. She works on books, yes, but she also has a blog where she releases one new blog every single day or thereabouts. And she actually doesn't have much of a back bank to post from. So a lot of them are written sort of in real time. So for this reason, she usually writes a blog every single day. Now, when she's working on a book specifically, she aims to write for 3 hours a day, Monday to Friday. Though she does have a home office, she actually prefers to work at a small private library that is near her house. In fact, it's only 1 block away. Research plays a major role in her work. And part of this is being well read, basically. When researching a book, she reads widely, looking at novels, memoirs, philosophies, and essays, as well as scientific and traditional research. Part of her research occurs also through conversations with others and even observation, as she finds insight in the minutiae of everyday life. She takes copious notes and is always trying to process the information she's consuming and trying to find connections between what she's reading as well as what she's observing and experiencing in her life. She carries a notebook wherever she goes, and she'll often email herself notes or ideas or aha moments as they occur to her. Now, as she reads and consumes content, she's also copying all of that into a master document, which is sorted by subjects. By copying out all of the important information that she's read, she believes that it's further cementing that content in her mind. One of her favorite things about herself, as she says, is that she often becomes obsessed with particular subjects. And in doing so, she will spend countless hours of time or even years learning more about it. When Gretchen is reading, she's actively trying to find content that is relevant to the subject she's writing about. If it's a library book that she's hired out, then she'll just use sticky notes on relevant pages. But if she owns the book, she will underline and make notes and highlight passages so that it's easier to find them after. As I said before, once she's finished reading a book, that's when she goes to that master document and literally types out all of her notes. If she finds a particularly profound quote, she'll then copy it into a separate document as well that only contains quotes, which she may use for future books or for her newsletter. When taking or copying notes, she's not very concerned with the organization of them. Instead, this actually happens much later in the project when she's actually outlining the book proper. So what she does when she copies out these random quotes that she's just collected, these random notes, she'll have the section and then underneath it, she'll include keywords so that she can use the search function later on once she begins her outline. For Gretchen, the real struggle comes once it's time to start structuring the book. She says that the structure of a book often seems super obvious once the book is published, but the actual decision making of it is really hard and it doesn't seem obvious. And I have to say, as a fiction writer, this is exactly the same. Structure doesn't seem obvious until you've made the decision. As Gretchen says, structure is so important, and the structure must serve the meaning. So for this reason, she can't always figure out the structure until she's determined what it is she's really trying to say. That being said, one of the best things about her note-taking system is that she never begins a book with a blank page, and I personally love this idea. In fact, when Gretchen starts her book, she has hundreds of pages of notes that can inspire and guide her during the drafting of her book. For Gretchen, the most important thing about writing is having something to say. Once you have something to say, writing becomes easier, but of course, you've still got to write it. As she says, many people have ideas or the intention to write, but what matters in the end is what is on the page. Now, I'd really love to hear from you. What do you think of Gretchen's writing routine? Are you a nonfiction writer? So is this sort of giving you some ideas on how you could structure or go about researching your book? Or if you're a nonfiction writer, is there any sort of bits of advice that you could apply to your own process? Leave a comment below and let me know, because I'd love to hear. Now, if you'd like even more writing advice, of course, check out the other videos on this channel, or you can visit my website, taraeast.com, and dive into the archives. Once you're there, please consider joining my email newsletter, link below, because if you do, I'll send you a free gift. Woohoo! And you'll also receive a newsletter in your inbox every single Thursday morning containing a note by me, some quotes that are really meaningful to me at the moment, some resources I've enjoyed and that I think you would too, and some tidbits that I only include via email. Thank you so much for being here and for watching again this week. Please also let me know if you enjoy these writing advice and writing routine summaries of famous writers. I'd really like to know if you enjoy these videos. If you do, I'll make more of them, and if you don't, I won't. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, stay calm, and keep writing, because the world actually does need more books.